You're here to learn what it means to have a 3-day reset for men, how to create a powerful shift in your mind, body, and spirit in under 72 hours. You will notice this transformation in your mind, in your body, in your spirit. More clarity, less anxiety and pressure, greater confidence and peace, a calmer nervous system, and more empowered perspective on life with a stronger connection to yourself. So if you follow these practices over the next 3 days, you will experience a significant shift in your internal world, which will then kind of lapse outside of you. But we're not even worried about that right now. But let's hit the ground running here. And these are the 3 areas we're going to focus on: balancing the body, the mind, and the spirit. So we're going to regulate the nervous system proactively, rewire thought patterns and internal identity, and build self-acceptance, confidence, and inner alignment. So right out of the gates, we need to balance the body. A lot of men walk around and they're like in a war zone and their nervous systems are all under threat and rattled, and we need to create clarity. I need to create safety and security for the conscious integration of better positive thoughts and higher conscious states to actually be adoptable. Okay, so if I go up to a gentleman and he's in the trenches and bullets are whizzing by his head, and I'm like, just think grateful stuff, man, be positive. He could probably point the gun towards me, right? I need to get him out of the war zone, stabilize, and then be like, how are we looking at life? And can we do that differently to feel empowered? So the first thing we're doing is right in the morning, you're going to intentionally do this for the next 3 days, is 5 minutes barefoot outside on the grass or the earth. Sunrise is best. We're getting that blue wavelength, and that is doing a lot of good stuff. Somatic shaking. We're doing a little bit of breath work, affirmations, or mantra or prayer, just saying good positive stuff to ourselves. And then we can exercise followed by cold exposure. You may be like, oh, that's a lot. It's not. The first few things take 3 minutes of your morning. You could literally do it in under 60 seconds. If you can spend 5 minutes out there doing this stuff, it's really good. It's just basically going out barefoot, shaking out your arms, stretching, moving your body, breathing very deeply with your diaphragm, saying positive things to yourself to encourage yourself, okay? And then if it's groovy to you, do an exercise followed by a cold shower. If you don't want to exercise, you don't have to, but it's helping regulation more. And then the cold exposure is helping regulation more as well. So that's the process with regulating the body. Why this works. Now, I'm not just telling you what to do, but why it works so that you have this mastery and you become self-reliant. So breathwork activates the parasympathetic nervous system, because if we're under threat, we're under sympathetic nervous system. Somatic work releases the physical tension and then calms the nervous system. Morning sunlight regulates your daily sleep cycle. Exercise releases stress and stabilizes mood. Cold exposure builds resilience and nervous system adaptability, and it also heightens dopamine. And affirmations elevate brain and mind into a higher conscious state. We're proactively conditioning and retraining both our brain and our mind. The result: more emotional control, greater clarity, less overwhelm, more energy and presence. So again, 5 minutes in the morning is all I'm asking. Then we balance the mind. This is phase 2. What you think, you become. So neuroscience confirms neuroplasticity rewires the brain through repetition, and the RAS filters reality based on what we're focusing on, what we believe. Psychology confirms identity shapes behavior, repeated self-talk influences emotional state and performance. So quantum perspective here is that when we change internally, the quantum has to adapt to that internal expression, okay? So consciousness influences our external experience, and our internal state affects how we perceive and interact with reality. So a daily affirmation is just something like medicine. We're taking like supplements here. If we have an iron deficiency, we're going to take iron supplements. Well, with affirmation or mantra or prayer, which are one and the same, we may incorporate a higher power. We may just state this stuff to ourselves, but we're saying it in present moment with gratitude to basically be super positive, optimistic, and empowering, because we're charged with a negative bias brain and mind. Psychology and neuroscience have confirmed this. We think negative stuff way easier than we think positive, encouraging stuff. So we have to proactively build that mental muscle by doing the reps, hence affirmation, mantra, prayer. So one that I love that I tell my son every single day, and I look in the mirror and I tell myself this every day: I'm proud of myself. I believe in myself. You're doing the best you can, and I love myself. Or I am peaceful, calm, and confident, and I will find a joy and gratitude today. So we're going to practice it. We're going to speak it while looking in the mirror. If you can do that, you're really on the money. We're going to repeat it while driving, walking, folding laundry, or winding down, and put it into your morning regulation. So when you're out there on the grass, you're shaking out and you're warming up and you're doing your breath work, speak those affirmations. And don't just say them mechanically, like, I am peaceful, I am grateful, I am positive. Speak like you're empowering yourself to go about and launch into your day, that you could be the best version of yourself. So just convince yourself of this stuff, okay? Gratitude rewires the mind. Most people train their brain to find problems. It's called attachment, based on the negative bias of the brain and the mind. So your assignment, put a reminder in your phone every single morning to proactively look for gratitude. What is gratitude? Peace, joy, or appreciation. So find 10 moments where you're going to look for that stuff. So don't overthink it. A nice little batch of sunlight, a peaceful drive, good coffee, hearing your child laugh, a comfortable silence, a good workout, a meaningful conversation, a proud moment, a shared smile. It could be anything as long as it's peaceful or above. It may be something hilarious you exchange with your colleagues or your best friends, okay? But don't rush past the moment. Pause and feel it. Absorb it, let it deepen, and try to extend and expand that moment so that you're ultimately just feeling it and marinating it longer. This is rewiring our brain and our psyche to be present. And in that present moment, we're finding peace, joy, and appreciation. So we're training those conscious muscles to absorb in that space. That makes our frequency louder. It makes it more sustainable, and that is rippling out into the ether. We're transforming internally, and that is spilling out externally. So what do we do with that stuff? We write it down in a journal at the end of the day. I'm grateful for experience because it made me feel emotion. So I'm grateful for my walk because it made me feel peaceful. I'm grateful for my family dinner because it made me feel connected. So what I do is I don't want to write that out every single time in my little gratitude journal. I'll write it at the top of the page and I'll do A, B, A, B, A, B, right? So I'm grateful for experience. I write down the experience because it made me feel emotion. I'm just optimizing time here. I share that, do that. I thought you'd benefit from that too. Why we do that in the evening, right before bed, is we're entering a subconscious state, getting ready from beta going to alpha, right? And so we're getting it, and we're hitting our subconsciousness with the fact that we're living a good life. We have a good day. We're training ourselves to see and experience life in this way. So when you read all these things over at the end, just sit and marinate in that too. And look, oh my gosh, it's Tuesday and I had 10 things that happened to me. They were pretty cool, pretty great. I'm happy with this. So that's what you're going to do for 3 days straight. So why gratitude changes your life? You're elevating consciousness. So this practice rewires neuroplasticity, redirects the RAS. So basically, we're allowing aligned beliefs now, positivity and empowerment. It lowers stress and fear-based thinking, builds emotional resilience, creates a more empowered perspective of reality. So your mind begins finding more of what you teach it to look for. So we're looking for fulfillment. We're looking for peace. We're ultimately looking to accept reality as it is. Gratitude is like training with weights. It's basically like an offshoot. If we can do pull-ups with a weight vest, then we take that off, we're going to be able to do a lot more without it, right? After training for many weeks or months. Just 3 days of gratitude is not trying to teach us to be all happy, happy, joy, joy. It's teaching us to be present within peace. So we're overshooting peace by looking for joy and positivity. And even if we don't make that, we still land at peace. We're not dipping below our line of peace and feeling all the stress, anxiety, pressure, and anger and all that stuff. So we're hyper training ourselves to land for something that's more accessible. Then we're going to balance the spirit. An appreciation letter to yourself. You have to be your biggest fan. You have been yearning for acceptance from the world because we're all conditioned as kids to do that. We just go about it differently based on our conditioning and our environment and our parents and our upbringing. But basically, that's what we're all looking for. And we can become self-reliant. We become the well of our own self-acceptance when we lean into this practice. So most men have never genuinely appreciated themselves because conditioning taught them to focus on flaws and inadequacy. So what do? Step one, what do you love? What do you enjoy? What lights you up? What brings you peace? Write this stuff down. Just talk about, I love fishing. I love golfing. I love sports. I love fantasy football. I love spending time with my kids. Talk about what you love. Talk about why you love it. Then, what positive qualities do you have? Your values, your character, your integrity. I'm really hardworking. I'm hilarious. I'm always the guy staying the latest. I show up for friends no matter what. I drop everything. I'm very dedicated to my family. I work incredibly hard at work because I love it. I'm passionate about it. You're getting to know yourself. Think about this as like a first date, second date, third date. We're making our way through the process of acquainting ourselves with who we are in order to find genuine authentic appreciation and self-love and devotion. We're just literally trying to build confidence and pride through being humble. So that's it. Because if we show up feeling that way about ourselves in any facet of life, that experience gets better because the one showing up believes in himself. So then we're doing phase 3. What makes you unique? Go a little bit deeper here. What makes you strong or special? What do you respect about yourself? So you're going to write to yourself the way you would write to somebody you deeply love and admire. And if you want to just free flow and go for it, then do that. Otherwise, take this step 1, 2, and 3 to kind of get yourself acquainted and build some comfortability in this. So what happens over the next 3 days? Again, we're experiencing a shift, mind, body, and spirit. We're regulating that nervous system, rewiring thought patterns, stabilizing an emotional state, strengthening self-worth, changing your conscious experience, what this means, okay? We're doing all that. What the heck does all that mean? We're creating more peace, more presence, more acceptance of reality. That will give us more clarity because we're laying down stress and anxiety and pressure. Then we're going to start feeling more confident because we're building ourselves up. We're empowered. We're feeling more fulfilled because we're finding joy and gratitude and peace throughout our day. And we're believing in the one who shows up. So we're having more emotional stability, not as much anger and anxiousness or regret or resentment. All that stuff fades away in as little as 3 days with this practice. So once you experience this shift, why stop? This can be a routine that you will have. You may go lighter and harder on some days, but keep this up if you notice a big shift in 3 days. Lean in fully, invest your max effort and attention and intention. And what will happen next? Subscribe for these next videos because this is just building a foundation. Imagine what we could do and where we can go once I start giving you like my 3-step transformative formula for basically transforming any area of your life. So I'm going to talk about conscious self-mastery, how reality is shaped internally, and then how that basically communicates with the external, the quantum field with source, with the universe. My 3-step formula for transformation, how to create success in any area of your life. It doesn't matter what it is. Buy this amazing, profound, epic formula. And then help this channel grow. You're here for good reason. Please subscribe. Share this video, save it, comment, ask me questions. I am here to help truly, authentically, and please allow this work to reach other men like you that need to experience that shift. And thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.